Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. We're back. We are back. Well, sort of back. Sort of back. How's everybody doing? Just going to adjust the arms on my chair. So if it's a little loud, I am sorry. I think they're up a little high. Haven't sat in this chair in a couple days, so it's been a while. But I missed you guys. So we'll say hi to each other for a minute because it's been a while. Guess that's my new saying. It's been a while. And it's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I was on YouTube actually a little bit today, so I can't lie. I haven't been looking at any content though that makes me want to scream in the last couple of days, so that's good. That's good. I had to take a little break ski. It wasn't nothing with YouTube or anything like that. My body was like, you just need to take a break. Um, I did hear some stuff before we get into Chelsea Grimm live. I've heard some stuff about Sebastian's case, and I've seen some things, and it's crazy over there. It's crazy over there. But we'll be back to that mess here shortly. I got to catch up. I've got to catch up. Hey, Mary Beth, how you been? How you been? She called in and Dolly. Elisa, yes, we've been covering this case. We were covering Chelsea Grimm cases. It's a difficult one for me. They're all difficult, but this one's like even more so. We started covering this case in October, right when it happened. We covered it up until I think I don't know when the last live was over it, but my last scheduled live was December 30th. And I didn't go through with it because of another creator. It was just a big mess. It was a big mess. So I was like, I'm just going to back away from it. And then I've just been thinking about it lately. I see it every time I go live. It's in my StreamYard. It's still there. Like it's scheduled. It just was never posted to be like live. And I look at it and I'm like, you got to do something with that, Tanya. You got to do something with that case. You got to do something there. And then what was it? Yesterday or the day before, I said something. I was like, yeah, we need to do the Chelsea Grimm case. So I unedited or unprivated the video, but I thought I did, but I didn't. And I unprivated the video. And then today I'm sitting there like laying in bed. I wasn't feeling very well. And so I'm laying there and I see Nancy Grace posted a 4-minute video on YouTube. So I know what that means. She put up her podcast. So here I go running over to it. And it's crazy because all these bigger channels are starting to pick it up, which I'm excited about that. We've got Nancy Grace that's going to be covering Chelsea Grimm now. We have Kendall Ray? Is that her name? She's a big creator that covered it. Her and her husband, whoever the people are at the podcast with the guy and the girl. I'll have to figure that out. But they covered it. People are covering it. So I'm excited about that. RA is rheumatoid arthritis, if that's what you're talking about. Hey, Linda. Hey, Pooh Bear. Hey, Lindsay. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you. Hey, CJ. Hey, Taser Brat. I like that name. Don't mess with you. West Virginia Holler Girl. Welcome on in. Welcome on in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. Did I miss one? Oh, I missed Ember. Look at those little wavy hands. How can I miss those? Are you talking about my picture? If you're talking about my picture, thank you. My picture is me on a hill up above where Vincent lives in California, where he lives. He doesn't live there. He lives here with me. I said he lives there. Kindle, yes. Yeah, Mile Higher, yes. I subscribed to the channel, but I forgot who it was. I couldn't remember. There's so many like good ones that kind of have the same name. They like have similar names. But yeah, so Chelsea Grimm, and there was actually another girl that I reached out to. She does like van life, and she was going down there to actually search for her. I don't know if she ever made it. We just lost communication, but I was talking to 2 of the searchers down there. I was talking directly with SF Investigates through Twitter. And then I was texting with another person in the chat and on Twitter as well. That was out there. They were searching just on their own dime, own nickel and dime. So if you don't know about Chelsea Grimm, we're going to tell you a little bit about Chelsea tonight. And then what I thought we would do is just start off our live back into the lives a little easy. We'll watch Nancy. I'll give you guys I'm going to give you a summary of, Chelsea's case, and we'll play Nancy. And then, on our next live, we'll go and deep dive into the documents. I have all the documents still, all the body cam, everything. My phone's been typing this the whole time. Oops. Whoopsie. My phone's typed that whole thing to Vincent. But anyway, I have all the photos that they took of her vehicle because they did find her vehicle, with 2 flat tires, things of that nature. This is a really, um you're gonna be hooked into this case. You're gonna be hooked and you're gonna wanna know what happened to Chelsea Grimm because we all wanted to know what happened to Chelsea Grimm, and we still all wanna know what happened to her. I am gonna reach out to SF Investigates and ask him if he's thinking about going back down there, like, anytime during the summer to look for her, because, I mean, if he did go back out there, he would be looking for remains, but, I don't know if that's something that he will have time to do or, you know, be able to do because he has to do that on his own nickel and dime. The family is not reaching out for any help. So it's a very weird case. And I found another video of the parents talking for like 30 minutes. Same outfits as before. Weird. I don't know. They did all the interviews at the same time. So let's pull up Chelsea and welcome in. Hey, Shrimp Yeah. Lindsay, you remember her doing that? Yeah. I liked that she did that. I even commented on her post, and I usually don't reach out to other creators, like, very often, like that. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool." Because, I was doing that case also, and I should have teamed up with her and did, like, another live. We should have did something together. Maybe we'll still do that. Maybe I can get a hold of her because she seemed like she was a really cool person. So when I first saw this picture of Chelsea, um, I was like, "Okay, well, wherever she is, she has her bearded lizard and her cigarettes," because I was like, "Wherever her cigarettes are, that's where we'll find Chelsea." We have yet to find her cigarettes, so we have yet to find Chelsea. I told, Steve that even. I was like, "Where's her cigarettes?" And, he said, "We haven't found them." So, if you smoke, that's usually what you have is your cigarettes with you. But, Chelsea Grimm is 5'8", 130 pounds. And it says, "These photos were found on her camera in her car and are the most recent we have. She is with her pet bearded dragon, Roz or Roxy." And I'll give you guys, the timeline and everything here in just a moment. Let me grab my drinks really quick. Hold on one second. Okay. Hey, sunshine, welcome in. Let's see. We'll do so I have a bunch of presentations already ready because we're covering this case for a while. So I thought that we would just like go through them again like we did before. We'll just start kind of at the beginning. And then you'll get the full story kind of, not the full story, but you'll get most of the story tonight from me, and then the rest of, Nancy Grace is going to put like, the whole show out there. So you'll get a great understanding of what's going on. And let me share this. There we go. Okay. So Chelsea Grimm. Yeah, I showed you that picture. Okay. Just making sure. We'll go through. Actually, you know what? Let's go through her pictures first. And I'll let you know, I'll tell you a little bit about her. How about that? Let me blow these ones up. I think these are so pretty, and they show her tattoos and stuff. So things to watch out for. She is with a pet bearded dragon, so be on the lookout. It's it's a story. It's a story. So Chelsea Grimm, she attended Pace University in New York to study psychology. She graduates with a master's degree in social work. Putting her degree to good use, she works for New York City Department of Education as a social worker. Chelsea makes a change heading to the West Coast and settling in Ocean Beach, California. Just like everybody, every girl on the East Coast wants to go to the West Coast. I feel like that's a thing. Chelsea's making plans to meet her parents at a wedding in Connecticut, but when she can't find an airline that will let her fly with her pet bearded dragon, Chelsea decides to make it a road trip, using the travel to take photos of forgotten soldiers and other special people at cemeteries across the country. So basically, she was going to go meet her parents in Connecticut for a wedding. It was her best friend's wedding, actually, and she was supposed to be in the wedding. She tells her parents, "Hey, I got this pet bearded dragon. I have to fly. I can't fly with, Roxy. I'm going to drive." So to me right there, that tells me that Roxy was put in as like a right before trip, like, "Holy crap, I got to take this pet bearded dragon with me." I think if she knew beforehand, she would have known. Most airlines, I guess, won't let her have a pet bearded dragon. I don't know why. If anyone knows why, let me know. So hibernating, yes. So it was getting ready to start hibernating as well. So that's another thing that's like It's not supposed to be in and out of temperatures like that. If you're in the desert, and that's where all this took place, if you're in the desert, the climate is extremely hot during the day and extremely cold, like at night. So, yeah, it could hurt. It could hurt the hibernation. And I don't think she had. I looked into like this the hibernation stuff and like the tanks you need and the lights and what a bearded dragon needs to thrive, and it can't thrive in a car. It just can't. Like it can't. And so, um, I don't know if mentally Chelsea knew that though, because I think that this is going to come down to something mentally, but I don't know. I haven't told you guys what I really think yet. I'm going to though. I'm going to. Let me share this with you. So since she can't, drive or she can't fly, she's going to drive. So you have to think about this. She's going from California on the coast all the way to Connecticut. Like, what? It's a very long drive. So on September 24th, Chelsea leaves San Diego and heads for Connecticut. 3 days into her cross-country trip, Chelsea arrives in Phoenix, Arizona, where she meets her sister and her friend. Chelsea makes plans to meet up with the same friend for lunch the next day, but cancels those plans. And on the same day, she stops in a motel in Saligma, which is in Arizona, about 160 miles north of Phoenix. So she had only made it, I think it was like 6 hours, 5.5 hours from her address to the first time she stopped in Phoenix and was like already taking a break. So in my mind right there, I was like, this isn't starting out so hot. If we're already, 6 hours in wanting to take a break. But then I thought, well, maybe she wanted to get a good rest and get up the next morning and start early. So when she's at the motel in Saligma, it's about 160 miles north of Phoenix. And I'll show you the videos too, because I have like the hotel video. It's the clerk says that Grimm seems confused. She's in there. She's trying to book a hotel room. She's exchanging euros instead of like US currency. She mentions wanting to be off the grid and asks if there are any places in town that would exchange euros. I did hear that she was in a trip. She was on a trip to Europe and she had euros. That's what I've heard. So I don't know if that's true, but that is what I've heard. So maybe she was just trying to get rid of those. She's so pretty, so beautiful. I like this picture of her, but her parents are a little outdated, but that's them. And I'll tell you a little about them in just a moment too. So she wants to stay off the grid. And she says this is because of a ex-boyfriend she is trying to hide from. And the ex-boyfriend is PJ, and that is the guy that originally owned the Bearded Dragon. So from the motel in Saligma, Arizona, Chelsea calls her parents and tells them she isn't going to make it to Connecticut on time for the wedding. The trip is taking too long. She tells them she is going to camp out nearby for a couple of days and head back home to San Diego. So she says, first day, and she's like, yeah, this ain't going to work for me. I'm going to go home. Instead of, I'm going to go home 6 hours, drop this bearded dragon off and hop on the next flight out. It was her best friend. I don't get that. That's very telling. So the next day, September 28th, Chelsea leaves the motel and heads 40 miles east to War Memorial Cemetery in Williams, Arizona. And I'll show you the whole mapping trip also throughout these lives. Williams police are alerted to a suspicious vehicle. And when the officer checks, he finds Chelsea Grimm seated in her car crying. She tells the officer she gets emotional taking photos of lost soldiers. That's a project she's doing, and she doesn't want to drive while she's crying. The officer spends nearly 9 minutes with Chelsea and asks if she has a hotel room for the night. She says she's going to camp out, and the officer directs her not to camp in the city, but she can sleep at a Love's truck stop nearby. He tells her she won't be bothered if she goes over there. 2 days after talking to the police officer, Chelsea finds herself, 19 miles west of Williams, Ashfork, Arizona. She is camping out in her Ford Focus SUV. A local woodcutter sees Grimm and talks to her for a few minutes, saying she isn't in distress or need of help. And this is all on video as well, because he talks to police and they have body cam. It is September 30th. The woodcutter in Ashfork, Arizona, is the last person to see Chelsea Grimm. Grimm's parents report her missing on October 4th. The next day, they find her Ford Focus. It's abandoned on the side of the road with 2 flat tires in the middle of the Forest Service Road 6 in Coconino National Forest. And it is out there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And I do have some pictures from inside of her vehicle, and I'll show those to you guys tonight as well, as we're like listening to the podcast, because I have a few of them on there. And I'll show them all to you throughout the lives. So inside the vehicle, all of Chelsea's personal belongings were in there, such as her wallet, driver's license, clothes, sleeping bag, and her bearded dragon were gone. So, okay. Her personal belongings were in there, like her wallet, her driver's license. She had clothing in there. She had, I believe, a purse in there. The only thing that was gone was that they could tell was the bearded dragon and a sleeping bag. And I believe that was it. Just her, I have this like wrote down wrong. So it was just her sleeping bag, her pet bearded dragon. And she did take a couple, articles of clothing, I believe, but I don't think that they knew about it. This like new investigation when I wrote this up. Police say that there's no evidence of foul play. Hey, OG, blame Erica Genevieve. Man, I love the names. He's Beard Junkie. I didn't see if they're either. Welcome in, everybody. Yes. Yes, she asked them for when I heard that she asked them for help, when she asked her parents for help, I was like, I cried. I was like, it was probably too expensive of a place, but it was at the same time like, what is going on? Like, we need to get her help. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Okay, so the area where Chelsea's locked SUV was found is a popular area with hunters and loggers. An extensive search is conducted of a 3-mile radius around where her car is discovered. Her family believes that due to the intensity of the search, if Chelsea is in the area, she will be found. Hunter and loggers in the area are strongly believe she is not there. Chelsea Grimm's family hires a private investigator, Kelly Townsend, to help with the case. Now, it still says, and when I was looking over the description in Nancy's podcast, that it still says Kelly Townsend is still the private investigator, but I don't believe that they have anybody working for them. But if they do, I would be very impressed, and I would be very happy about that. I'd be very happy. So let's see. Okay, this is only like 6 little slides, so it's not too bad. Okay, we'll put that a little bit bigger. So 32-year-old Chelsea Grimm was last seen on September 28th, 2023 in Williams, Arizona. This is just going to kind of tie it up in a bow for you. And then we'll watch Miss Nancy. Her SUV was found October 5th, northeast of Ashfork, Arizona, on Forest Service Road 6 in the Coconino National Forest. It had 2 flat tires, and Chelsea was nowhere to be found. Chelsea's parents, Janet and Stephen Grimm, say she left her home in San Diego, California on September 24th to drive to Connecticut for a wedding and to visit them. She was traveling with her bearded dragon. On September 27th, Chelsea called her parents from Arizona and said that she wasn't going to make it in time for the wedding. Instead, she was planning to camp in Arizona for a couple of days. And during that time, she actually called her mother, and we'll find this out when we go through the timeline more. She called her mother. She needed help. She needed to go to a mental health facility or a treatment center. And she had one picked out that she was close to, and her mother told her she wasn't going to pay for it. So she said, I'm not going to pay for that. And we heard this a while back from Steve, but she said that she would pay for a different one. And then that's when I heard Chelsea ripped out the SIM card, threw the SIM card out the window, and then there's no more communication with her parents because she's upset. She's peed, And I believe that she was really upset that she thought that that's the last person to let her down, you know? Yeah, Chelsea left her camera on her car too. Her camera was her life, her love, her hobby. Yeah, we don't understand why she would left her camera behind. Yes, that was her favorite hobby. But yeah, it's photography. And she was taking pictures all up until the time that she disappeared. Oh, yeah, they checked the local hospitals. They checked, oh my gosh. I think Steve even went out there and he checked even a bigger mile radius. I'm gonna go back through and see if I'll ask him if he'll send them to me. He has charts and stuff that he did, drone footage. If not, we'll just go back through the Twitter. I should have saved all those. I was bad at saving stuff, I guess. But it won't be bad anymore. But I do have the whole case file. So we have a lot to start with. And I'm going to see if I can get some more, see if there's anything else that's come out since then. Because maybe there's more out there. I just don't know about it. So on September 27th, I read the part. On September 28th, Chelsea was last seen in Williams, Arizona, according to the Coconino County Sheriff's Office. Family says Chelsea's cell phone has been turned off since September 28th or 29th. Her parents reported her missing on the Phoenix Police Department, or to the Phoenix Police Department on October 4th. On October 5th, hunters northeast of Ashfork, Arizona, in the Coconino National Forest reported a suspicious white 2019 Ford Escape with 2 flat tires parked on Forest Service Road. They had first noticed it 2 days prior on their journey. The car belonged to Chelsea, but she was gone along with her bearded dragon and her wallet. Okay, that's what it was. Wallet, bearded dragon. Sorry. And I thought she was sleeping bag. It was her sleeping bag was gone too. Because I thought that was extremely weird. If somebody was going to kidnap somebody, they're not going to probably take their sleeping bag. Anyone with information is asked to call the Coconino Sheriff's Office at 928-774-4523. And I made these charts, like these slides and stuff up as we were going around, across the case too. So that could be it. And welcome in, everybody. Yeah, so the 2 flat tires, we're thinking that there's like lava rocks down there, and we're thinking that like she hit 2 of them on the one side of her car because she was pulling over to the side of the road a lot to take pictures and things. I don't know if I have a picture. I don't. Let me see if I can find it. There's a picture of her with like her foot out. Okay, so this isn't doesn't have the lava rocks, but I'll show you it has the car on the side of the road. So I'm thinking there was lava rocks on one side of the road and she went over to get over to take pictures or something. And then I didn't notice this before I watched the Kindle documentary or podcast with her and her husband with Mile Higher. Is that what it's called? But do you guys see her clothes over there on the ground? I didn't notice that before. I think our girl's naked. I think our girl's in the nude. I think our girl is out there feeling her hippie vibes. I don't know what her mental health diagnosis is, no, but I'm kind of feel like that's, it was more of that. Daniel K, believe you me, girl, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. I would be lucky to have mine too. I was just thinking about them guys earlier. Yeah, we're covering this one again. Yeah, I was been thinking about it, and then Nancy came on today, and I was like, "Are you kidding me, Nancy?" I was like, "This is like a sign," because I just unprivated my live to put on. I was going to do it next Thursday or something. I was like, "Just give me some time," because I just wanted it to be really good for you guys, and for Chelsea. And that's why I kept I was like, "Okay, well, we'll do it. We'll do it here. We'll do it here," and then we never did it. So we're doing it now because she deserves it. On September 27th, Chelsea met her friend in Phoenix. The next day, she canceled lunch with that friend. Later that day, she was reported to be disoriented when she tried to book a motel in Seligma, which is near Williams. A Williams police officer spoke to Chelsea on September 28th. She was crying with her bearded dragon, Rosie, in her 2019 Ford Escape SUV parked at the Williams Cemetery. And then she had like all these passages on her Bible right here. We'll have to read those. I forgot about those. A woodcutter reportedly, this is when her car was, the flat tires, had the flat tires. A woodcutter reportedly spoke to Chelsea on September 30th on Road 6, the remote dirt road west of Flagstaff near Ashfork, Arizona, where her abandoned SUV was found on October 5th. And don't worry about that update because he didn't speak to her, but he saw her. So um, it's kind of all the same though. Okay, now we can go over to Nancy and see what she's doing, what she's up to. I couldn't believe she's like covering this. I was like, "Are you kidding me, Nancy? Are you kidding?" And welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. I know it was like late and I just like popped on and was like, hey, everybody, let's do a live. But I thought it'd be fun. And I needed to get I need to get Chelsea's name back out there anyway. So before we do that, what's that? Oh, I have to find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is Chelsea Grimm right here. She is 5'8", 130 pounds. She has the most prettiest bluish green eyes I've ever seen. So pretty. She has sandy blonde hair. She has her pet dragon, bearded dragon with her named Roxy or Roz. She was last seen in Williams, Arizona. And if you have any information, the case number to this is S2303352. And you can call the Coconino Sheriff's Office at 928-774-4523. Or you can call the PI Kelly Townsend, I guess, at 480-251-7373. I should call, make sure you can still call her. Make sure they still have it. Okay. I have some banners, I think I could put up. Okay. Now these are going to be like the inside of her car. So we'll go through these kind of like first, I'll just put like one on here and we'll start the video. Actually, I'll have to stop it and pause it because it does some weird stuff. Should have had it ready for you guys. I'm so sorry. And this is a podcast, so there's no video to it. Oops, sorry. No video to it. That's why I'm going to put the slides up in front for you guys. And this is going to be of Chelsea's car these are what I got from Coconino County when I FOIA'd the request and got all of her information last year. And I'm sorry that's so loud. I can't control the volume. I will say this officer, he is awesome. Like if I got pulled over in a cemetery after dark, I would love for him to pull me over. I mean, I guess smelled like marijuana and everything. So for him just to be like, hey, do you want to just sit here and chill out for like 20 minutes? That's cool with me. I was like, he's a cool guy. He wasn't trying to give her a hard time. Can you not hear it? You can't hear it? Okay, hold on. Weird. Okay. Let's see. Oh my Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry. So sorry about that. I do say Lord have mercy a lot. He's gonna get me for that. Will he get me fat? I don't think he will. Okay, sorry about that, guys. You didn't miss much. Going back. I'm sorry that I'm laughing because this happened the last 2 times that we've been live, and someone came in and was like, "Does this happen every time you go live?" And I was like, "No, it does not." Here we are again. Okay, so I'm gonna play it for you. I didn't share the tab. I'm so sorry. I thought I did. Shared it with myself. Okay.
Terms and conditions, rating factors.
No Chelsea. Or escape to meet
With high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. A gorgeous young Pace University grad sets out in her Ford Escape to meet her parents at a Connecticut wedding. But somewhere along the way, something goes horribly wrong. She never makes it to the wedding. Her car abandoned. But no Chelsea. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I just was doing a photo shoot of the lost soldiers and got a little emotional, so I was crying before I got back on the road.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure someone called it in. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're quite all right. I mean,
I was just doing a photo shoot, yeah. Packed up. I'm going to leave soon.
Okay.
But I just didn't want to drive like that. Sad.
You are hearing Chelsea. That's Chelsea. What's happening in this video is an officer sees Chelsea in her Ford Escape parked. Now, Chelsea has a master's degree. She's a clinical psychologist, but she's also a very, very astute photographer. And she took it upon herself. She was going to a photo shoot. She was conducting a photo shoot about lost soldiers. And here is this cute girl sitting in a car at the cemetery of soldiers and taking photos. And she starts crying. And a cop comes up and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And what's significant in my mind is she's perfectly fine at that moment. For Pete's sake, a cop asks her, "Hey, you okay? Is your car working?" Take a listen to more.
I don't know if you want somebody else to drive you or if you just want to hang out here for a little bit longer. You're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, if it's okay with you to
Awesome,
hang out
cop.
here for another like 15 or 20 and then head on the road, that would be my plan,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, I don't see.
Where were these guys where I grew up? Where were these cops? Man. Where I grew up, they get you every time.
Yeah, no, I mean, with my eyesight and then crying, it's not the best combination at night.
I
was like, I'm just gonna like cry on the road, or I'm just gonna sit here and cry. So I
got
have my dragon, and I'm just.
Oh, that's freaking cool! I didn't even notice that.
Thanks, Rosie.
Wow, Rosie,
I think she's asleep.
Wow, right on.
She got bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening to her. She's talking about Rosie, who is her new pet. I think it's Komodo dragon. Look. So she takes. And as a matter of fact, that's why she was going to travel by car to the Connecticut wedding, because the airline wouldn't let her leave Rosie, the dragon. And as a matter of fact, my daughter Lucy has a friend who is obsessed with this very type of pet. And I don't understand the attraction to a reptile, but apparently it's very common. So instead of taking a plane and leaving the new pet behind, she wants to pet with her on the way to the wedding. Hence, she's driving. Take a listen to some more.
Do you have like a hotel around here or anything?
I don't. I was actually thinking of just camping for the night, but I wasn't really sure exactly yet.
Gotcha.
Well, I didn't plan to be here until sunset.
Okay. You can't camp in the city limits. It's kind of like a city statute we have.
Okay, good to know.
But you can always go. I don't know if you can see like the yellow lights over there, the Loves. It's a trucker stop in the gas station area. You can just sleep there. Nobody will bother you.
Okay, right there, I see trouble. Going to a truck stop, a woman alone at night. Yeah, I don't like that. And the fact that she couldn't camp in city limits, I understand that. But she's all alone and thinks she's going to camp for the night somewhere she's never been before and hasn't planned out. Guys, we're talking about an absolutely precious young grad. She graduated Pace University and is now a clinical psychologist, believe it or not, got her master's degree, devoting her life to helping others. She agrees to meet her mom and dad at a Connecticut family wedding, and she never shows up. That's a bearded dragon, not a Komodo dragon, a bearded dragon. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now, including my longtime friend and colleague, Mark Klass, who has devoted his life to helping to find missing people. Before I go to Mark for his advice, I want to go to Zara Barker, investigative reporter, Fox 5 San Diego. Zara, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me about the decision to drive to the wedding as opposed to taking a very simple flight. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I just took a cross-country trip in an RV with my children. Okay, we ended up in the Tetons and Yellowstone, and we camped out every night. But we had it planned, Sarah. I knew what RV camp where we would stay at each stop. I worked with AAA to get a cross-country map to figure out how the hey I was going to do this. Planned the menus, what we would need to cook out on a Dutch oven in a hole in the dirt every night, and it worked. But this was impromptu, a sudden decision. Tell me about that decision.
Yeah, Nancy, it's been 7 months since she was last seen, and we still have so many questions, including why she actually made that decision to take this cross-country road trip by herself. I mean, this was a big trek. This was 2,800 miles from here in San Diego, California, to a family wedding, as you said, in Connecticut. So we don't know exactly what her thought process was. We do know that she had intended to fly in the beginning, but she had newly acquired that pet bearded dragon named Rossi, and she couldn't fly with that animal. So instead of flying and maybe leaving that pet with a friend back home here in San Diego, she decided to drive and make this 2,800-mile trek all by herself, which is where a lot of these issues tend to arise.
You know what I don't like, Mark Klass, and through no fault of your own, Zara Barker? Somehow it sounds like we're saying, wow, it's her fault. She took a 2,800-mile trip across the country. It's not her fault. Yes, she made that decision, but you know what, Mark, don't you ever just get it up to here? I mean, think about it. Molly Tibbetts, Karina Vitrano, Eliza Fletcher, women minding our own business, out for a jog, driving their car across the country. How do we end up target so much?
Well, it's a daunting trip, and I think we'll all agree with that, going across country by yourself. It's not even something.
I think she thought, hey, this is going to be a lot of fun. I got my pet Rosie with me, or Roxy, whichever you want to call, pet bearded dragon. I'm getting out of this relationship that he's weighing me down. He's having me doing bad things. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go on this whole spiritual awakening, journey all the way across country. And I think 6 hours into it, she got hit with reality. Like, oh, this isn't what this isn't what I was hoping for. Yeah, this is new Nancy. Yeah, Harlow. I was just getting ready to do another live on her, and I just posted it. And then she came out with this today, and I was like, well, here we are. Nancy's on board now. Let's go find her.
I would want to do as a man. But something went down in Phoenix, and maybe in her head, maybe she met somebody. I don't know the answer to that. But something occurred in Phoenix. Unlike you, I don't think that there was any problem with her camping by herself at a truck stop. I've worked with the trucking industry in the past. and I've dealt with truck stops in the past, and they have a good safety record.
The last person I want to tangle with right now is Mark Glass. But let me direct you to my most recent book, Don't Be a Victim. You ever heard the name Israel Keys? He was a mass killer, a serial killer who targeted people camping at RV stops, at truck stops. It happens. And who gets targeted? Women. That's who. And this is not about truckers. This is about criminals. You know how many truckers have helped me solve cases? 1,000. This is not about them. This is about a sudden decision not to continue driving and to have an impromptu camp out. You don't even know where you're going to be, what the security is. I mean, okay, Gabby
That's
Petito,
true.
dispersed camping. That spot wasn't necessarily planned. She's dead. Let me go to Justin Yentis, private investigator who has been working with the Grimm family, that's Chelsea's family, also in the criminal defense investigators of Arizona at Arizona Investigative Associates. Justin, thank you for being with us. Please save me from an argument with Mark Glass, because he's totally going to win. I already know that. But Justin,
Happy to help.
Tell me about the search. Oh, hold on, Justin.
She had clothes on, but just not in that picture that I showed. So I think she put her clothes back on after that, because there's pictures of her. I think the one where she's with the glasses and her eyes are like kind of puffy, I think that's one of the last ones. This one here. I'm pretty sure. But, I'm not 100 on that. So maybe she could have been out there frolicking around. Okay, I'm going to play this and let me know if it plays, because it's saying that the audio. Let me just, let me just stop sharing it. Let me just share it again. That way we know it plays.
Got a little more of Chelsea's voice. And that night, which is the closest thing I can get to Chelsea, listen.
Yeah, get some good shots at sunrise too there.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sunrise here too. If you ever want to take photo shoots of like the statues in the morning, yeah, it's really cool because the sun's like rises right behind them.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll probably stay at the truck stop then, save some money, and then come over for the sunrise.
You got it.
Cool.
All right. Well, you have a great time. I'm Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
You got it.
Appreciate your compassion.
You got it. So yeah, just hang out here however long
like,
you
that's
want.
so sweet.
You're good to go.
I appreciate your compassion, she said.
Watch any 7 or more.
We know that her last phone activity.
You okay? Is your car? Justin Yentas, private investigator working with Chelsea's family. What were her movements after that when the cop says, "Hey, are you okay? Is your car okay? Why are you here?" And she's doing a photo shoot. Very, very talented. What were her movements after that?
So what we've done is compile somewhat of a timeline based on what we can verify. We know that her last phone activity was on 9/27 per AT&T. She's on a video at the motel on September 28th, and then was on some folks' property later that day at 2000 hours at the Worthington's property. And so we're really trying to narrow down every verifiable movement that she had. Unfortunately, she was an AT&T subscriber. So when the officers from Coconino County sent an exigent circumstances request to AT&T, they got less information than is provided with other providers. For example, with Verizon, if she were to be with Verizon, we would have received a list of the cell tower hits, the different panels that a cell phone had connected to. Unfortunately, AT&T does not provide that in their exigent circumstances missing persons requests. So our ability to pinpoint where she was at is limited to the videos that are on the internet and that have been shared, these photos that were on her camera, a couple of folks that saw her vehicle, the hunters that were out and spoke with her, and this officer. So unfortunately, we're we're limited as to how much we can actually verify of her movements from that point on.
Now, let me understand something about the AT&T issue. Are you saying they don't have the data, that it doesn't exist, that other cell phone carriers would have, or that you can't get your mitts on it, that it's there, but they haven't given it to you?
It's the latter. So generally, when you have a crime that happens, the officers will get a search warrant because they've got probable cause to do so. That didn't happen in this case because there was, according to the officers, they had no probable cause to obtain a search warrant to get the cell data records from AT&T. And so all they were able to get were the exigent circumstances missing person files, which were very limited with AT&T.
Okay, hold on. When was that, Justin? When was that last attempt?
The last attempt to get the cell phone records from AT&T was when it originally occurred. Now we are in the process of, you have a question there? You seem mind blown.
Yes, I do. Because many months have passed since then.
It's hard.
And I would think.
Preach it. It's so hard to get some of these FOIAs. I'm getting Preston Lords. I'll have it tomorrow. I'll have it paid tomorrow.
Logically, that what may have been,
we've been doing that one,
we don't have any evidence of wrongdoing, but now her car is abandoned. She missed the wedding. Nobody can find her. She's been gone for months. Wouldn't that be probable cause to get the full data to find her last cell phone ping? Ding, ding.
That's what I have argued. We've worked together with Coconino County, with San Diego Police, trying to build probable cause that the Coconino County Sheriff's Office would agree to present to a judge to get a search warrant. There's been differences of opinions on whether or not cause exists. Those from San Diego felt that it did. I felt that we had at least enough to make an attempt. Coconino disagreed. So we have not been able to get a search warrant for those cell records.
What is Coconino County? Where is that?
That's where Flagstaff is located. It's right in that area where Williams is.
Okay, Mark Class joining me. This is a champion in victims' rights. Mark Class, oh, that's completely bass-ackwards. She's been gone this many months, and Coconino County authorities are saying, yeah, we don't think we've got enough PC probable cause for a warrant to get the cell phone pings of all things. It's not like you're breaking into somebody's house and tearing them out of the bed. It's getting some documents from AT&T.
Yeah, it's definitely information that can help the case one way or another to be able to just track where she went.
Chelsea Grimm is originally from Stamford, Connecticut, where she was raised by her parents, Stephen and Janet Grimm. Chelsea attends Pace University in New York, where she studies psychology and graduates with a master's degree in social work. Putting her degree to good use, she works for the New York City Department of Education as a 12th grade social worker. Chelsea Grimm heads to the West Coast, moving to Ocean Beach, California, a beachfront neighborhood of San Diego. She's a licensed associate clinical social worker, photographer, and an artist.
3 days, Chelsea arrives in Phoenix, where she meets her sister and a friend. Grimm makes plans to meet the same friend for lunch the next day, but cancels. Same day, Chelsea Grimm stops at a motel in Seligman, about 160 miles north of Phoenix, where she tries to book a room with euros instead of U.S. currency. She mentions to the clerk wanting to be off-grid and asks if there's any places in town that would exchange euros.
So this woman, this young woman, a talented young photographer, planning to document her 2,800-mile trip, a road trip from her home in San Diego to meet her parents at a family wedding all the way across the country in Connecticut. She plans to take photos all the way along that trip. What goes wrong? Her Ford Escape is found abandoned, but no Chelsea. Now we're hearing from our friends at Crime Online that she's there in this location 160 miles north of Phoenix, and she tries to book a room with euros. Well, of course, that doesn't work. Zara Barker is joining us, investigative reporter at Fox 5 San Diego. Zara, I'm still hung up on the fact that neither San Diego nor Coconino County thinks there's enough probable cause to get a warrant for her cell phone pings. Because if I had that, I would know where she was last using her phone. Not necessarily that it even was used, but where it was pinging before it went dead or was destroyed. Then I could start looking for witnesses. I could start looking for surveillance video, stoplight video, businesses or business surveillance protection video. But I can't do that because I don't have the cell data.
Yeah, that is very shocking to hear. You know, in my reporting, I was in contact with both San Diego Police and the Coconino County Sheriff's Department. And when I contacted San Diego Police, they said this is a Coconino County case, and SDPD could not even comment on it in any capacity. So we don't exactly know the extent of investigation that SDPD has been doing, but it's clear that they're on board with even wanting this warrant. So we don't know why Coconino County is not wanting to get this warrant, especially with it being 7 months since this has happened.
And joining me is Dr. Leslie Dobson, clinical forensic psychologist at drlesliedobson.com. Her most recent book, The Friend Cleanse, How to Set Boundaries with Energy Vampires. Dr. Leslie, thank you for being with us. Dr. Leslie, I got a question for you. It seems as if many people, they may not come out and say it, but they blame the victim for wearing a jogging bra, and then the victim ends up dead. It's somehow connected to the jogging bra. Or wearing earpods. Oh, it's her fault. I would never do that. Or going to a restaurant or a bar by herself at 10 o'clock at night. What was she doing out at that time? I mean, we find a million reasons to somehow very insidiously suggest it's her fault. Why is it her fault this time? Because she and her bearded dragon were crossing the country. There, she did it. It's her fault. That would never happen to me. I wouldn't do that. Well, I did do that. But why is it we so desperately look for reasons to blame the victim?
I think a lot of us don't understand the mind of the perpetrator. And so it's so easy to blame the victim. But really, she may have been followed. We have restraining orders. We have an ex-boyfriend, fiance.
To Justin Yentis, private investigator who's working with the Grimm family, what is this about ex-boyfriends?
There were some ex-boyfriends that she'd had, some serious relationships that didn't end well. So we've been in contact with some of those folks.
Can't we all say that? Can't we all have a couple of exes we wish we had never met, but we did? So what are they, murder suspects?
I can for sure. I wouldn't say that anyone's really a murder suspect at this time. We're just, our agency was brought on several months ago to put new eyes on this. And so we started looking at all of the areas with the attempt to not focus on what had already been done or what the obvious resolution or circumstances may have been.
What can you tell me about the boyfriend?
Not a whole lot at this point, unfortunately.
Well, isn't it true that from what I understand, I'll go to Zara Barker on this, Fox 5, isn't it true that the ex was nowhere near where she was at the time she went missing?
That's what we had heard as well. But again, we couldn't even get in touch with any of her friends or ex-boyfriends, especially anyone here locally in San Diego. And I think part of that is because she had actually moved to San Diego Ocean Beach during the pandemic. So we don't know exactly how well connected she was with our local community here.
Justin Yentis, private investigator working with the Grimm family. Are you or anyone in her family aware of a boyfriend in her new residence?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Okay. And isn't it true that that particular boyfriend was nowhere near where she was when she went missing?
Yeah, that is the information that we currently have. That's correct.
She's on a road trip. She's crossing the country. He's not following behind her. And I think, let me just go out on a limb here, that he has been excluded. He was nowhere near her at the time she goes missing. So where does that leave me. Joining me is Andrew Stoltman, a high-profile lawyer out of Chicago, a law professor at Northwestern University, and co-author of an incredible book, Waging War on Wall Street, My Battle Suing Banks and Brokerage Firms. Well, if you can take on a bank, okay, I need to talk to you off camera. Andrew Stoltman, let me talk to you about this case. When I immediately ask about the boyfriend, that's synonymous with every boyfriend, ex-husband, in every case ever. Because isn't it true that when someone goes missing or is harmed or killed, the first place you look is within the family, the nuclear family, and then you start moving out, including exes, longtime exes, all the way back as far as you can go, because random crimes don't happen as often as targeted crimes. In other words, by someone that knows you or think they know you.
Nancy, you and I know that, but it's amazing how many times the boyfriend or the girlfriend who perpetrated the crime doesn't know that. That is always the first person that the police look at. And I think that might be one of the flaws in this case. And I think that might be one of the reasons why the police haven't solved this case yet. They've said from the very beginning that they don't think this case involves foul play. And that might be a little bit of a rush to judgment. And my concern is the police have that perception that no foul play was at issue, and their entire investigation has therefore been seen through that straw of no foul play. That might be a mistake. It might be a rush to judgment by the police.
From a motel in Seligman, Arizona, Chelsea calls her parents and tells them she can't make it to Connecticut on time for the wedding. The trip is taking too long. She tells them she's going to camp out nearby for a couple of days and then head back home to San Diego. The next day, September 28, Chelsea Grimm leaves the motel and heads 40 miles east to a war memorial cemetery in Williams, Arizona. Williams police are alerted to a suspicious vehicle, and when the officer checks, he finds Chelsea Grimm seated in her car, crying. She tells the officer she gets emotional taking photos for a lost soldier project and didn't want to drive while crying. The officer spends nearly 9 minutes with Grimm and asks if she has a hotel room for the night. She says she's going to camp, and the officer directs her to not camp in the city, but she can sleep at Love's truck stop nearby. He tells her she won't be bothered there.
Straight back out to high-profile lawyer and adjunct law professor at Northwestern University, Andrew Stoltman. I believe I heard you use my old co-anchor Johnny Cochran's phrase, and of course, that's making me mad right there. But I believe you said there was a little bit of a rush to judgment. She was reported missing in October. That's not a rush. In fact, I feel like this panel, Mark, Andrew, Dr. Leslie, Justin, and Zara, are the only ones that seem to feel any sense of urgency along with their parents. Why hasn't the Coconino County Sheriff's issued a warrant, a search warrant for AT&T to hand over the cell phone pings? This isn't a rush to judgment. Yes, they were wrong at the get-go saying there was no foul play. There is foul play. Something has happened to this girl. What rush to judgment are you talking about?
Well, I think the perception was no crime was committed, but Nancy, there were 2 shredded tires on her vehicle. Now, I've had a lot of flat tires over the years, but I've never had 2 at the same time. So this is a rural county with presumably rural police officers. How competent are they? How good are they? We don't know, but it sure seems like a rush to me.
Well, hold on just a moment. Another thing. Andrew Stoltman, you may be a professor there at Northwestern University, but I am from rural Georgia in the middle of nothing but pine trees and soybean fields. And I can tell you, those sheriffs and cops are some of the most dedicated people I've ever seen. However, I do agree with you in the fact that they don't handle a lot of homicides or kidnaps. So their perception may be different from big city law enforcement that handles it every day. And you said something that really sticks in my mind. Mark Class joining me. He has dedicated his life to helping find missing people, help solve unsolved homicides after his daughter Polly was kidnapped and murdered. Mark, did you hear when Andrew Stoltman said shredded? I don't know if he meant to say it, but he's right. Shredded. It's not like you get a nail or a piece of glass in your tire and you have a slow leak or you have a flat. 2 tires shredded. Shredded. What does that mean to you, Mark?
Well, I'll tell you what everything means to me is that it looks to me like there's been an incompetent investigation. And if I were the young woman's parents, the first thing I would do, and I would do this immediately today, this moment, is contact the FBI and ask them to get involved and cite all of the things that we've been talking about, all of the reasons that this has not been handled well, all of the reasons that this is a critical moment for this young lady, and try to really get down to the bottom of it and get answers. That's exactly what I did in Polly's case. I contacted the FBI because I thought they have the resources, they have the knowledge, they have the manpower, they can move forward with this investigation in a way that locals cannot do.
That's why he has his foundation, and that's why he is who he is. But in this case, we haven't seen that. We just haven't. We have 3 interviews altogether. I found a third one that's 3 minutes long, with her parents. And in every single interview, they're wearing the same clothes and they're in the same spot in the kitchen. So you could tell they did all 3 interviews at the same time. And that was it. After those 3 interviews, I haven't heard anything about her family at all. I would love to, though.
Plus, they have the resources. So that is exactly where I would go with this right now. It just seems to me there are way too many red flags and way too many unanswered questions 7 months down the line.
You know, Andrew Stoltman joining us, high-profile lawyer out of Chicago, professor at Northwestern University, and author. Andrew, I don't like the feds. And I was a Fed for 3 years. But I can tell you this. The FBI, they know what they're doing. The U.S. Marshal Service, yeah, I've got nothing on them. You see the FBI picking through your trash in the backyard, you might as well go ahead and plead guilty. He's right. Why not call in the FBI? She's clearly crossed state boundaries. Not that we really need that, but why not?
I don't know the answer to that. Sometimes there's a jurisdictional war between local police officers in a rural county like this and the FBI. And look, Nancy, I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm from a rural state. But I just don't think these police officers have much experience in this area with respect to potentially a murder investigation or potential missing person investigation. I think they are in over their heads.
2 days after talking to the police officer in Williams, Arizona, Chelsea Grimm finds herself 19 miles west of Williams in the town of Ashfork, Arizona. She has been camping out in her Ford Focus SUV. A local woodcutter sees Grimm and says she does not seem in distress or in need of any help. It's September 30th. The woodcutter in Ashfork, Arizona is the last person to see Chelsea Grimm.
Chelsea Grimm tells her parents she might not have good cell service while she's out camping. But when they don't hear from her for several days, her parents report her missing on October 4th. The next day, Chelsea Grimm's 2019 white Ford Focus SUV is found abandoned on the side of the road with 2 flat tires by hunters in the middle of Forest Service Road 6 in the Kaibud National Forest, northeast of Ashfork, Arizona. Inside the locked vehicle, all of Chelsea Grimm's personal belongings, such as her wallet, driver's license, clothes, and sleeping bag, and her bearded dragon Roz, are gone. Police say there's no evidence of foul play.
Increase with high-risk driving.
7 or more. Exclusion. Everyone. Fuel.
That had seen this issue on the news. There was some discussion about the.
To Justin Yentas joining us, respected private investigator working with the Grimm family. You were responding to Andrew, correct? What were you saying?
I was. There was some discussion about the FBI. And when we first got
so
this
they do
case,
have somebody.
I started going through the original information that had come in from tips and leads from the.
And you'll see all those interviews with like the woodcutters and everything, because we got them on body cam.
Folks out there that had seen this issue on the news. There were some ransom texts and messages that had come in, and that's what I felt was our best chance of establishing probable cause to get the FBI involved, to get some federal court orders or search warrants or whatever it would take to go after AT&T, to get their cell phone, the cell tower data. When the FBI, so I'll back up there, Coconino, excuse me. So I wrote a search warrant affidavit for that, using the ransom and the kidnapping as my crime. Presented that to Coconino, and then found out that they had had a conversation with the FBI previously, and they had reviewed the ransom requests that had come in and determined, based on their training and experience, that these ransom requests were bogus. So they did not feel that they were of value or indicative of a crime occurring. That information then went back to Coconino, and so the sheriff's office felt that when disclosing the fact that the FBI had made a determination on the validity or lack thereof of these ransom requests, that would have to be turned over to a judge in an affidavit, and that we did not, based on the FBI's findings, we did not have probable cause to seek search warrants based on a kidnapping belief or suspicion.
Got a question for you. Tell me about the ransom notes.
There were a couple of messages that came in, I believe on Facebook or WhatsApp, to one of the tip lines, and demanded money, and that's about what I know about them. They were sent off to the FBI. We are not in possession of any reports from the FBI.
Well, what did the ransom request say?
Something along the lines of requesting money for her safe return.
So asking for money for her safe return. And that was directed to just basically a tip line or an online forum?
It came in on one of our sources via, I believe, a Facebook message or a WhatsApp message.
Was there anything in the ransom request to indicate special knowledge about Chelsea, like where she was, the name of her bearded dragon, something that only the kidnapper would know?
There wasn't, and perhaps that was part of the determination that the FBI made to invalidate the request. Getting information out of an ongoing investigation from the feds is next to impossible.
To Zara Barker joining us, investigative reporter, Fox 5 San Diego. So Chelsea tells her parents she may not have good cell service while she's camping. They don't hear from her for several days. And her parents report her missing October 4. I want to get back to the shredded tires. If anyone can tell me about the shredded tires, I want to hear about that, because that sounds intentional, like they were cut with a knife.
Yeah, it definitely does. And one thing I want to point out.
Steve's been on the show with her before. Steve, go over there and tell her these were done with lava rocks.
Out too is obviously those tires were flat or shredded. Whatever the case was, that vehicle was not drivable. So at that time, she had no choice but to leave that car. What we don't know is, where did she go? And did she go with somebody? I mean, Ashfork, Arizona, where her vehicle was found, was not a very populated area. There's less than 500 people that live in Ashfork, Arizona. You would seem to think at this time that they all know who Chelsea Grimm is and have been keeping an eye out for her. Somebody there has to know something, because she left her vehicle on her own volition.
I'm curious about the shredded tires. To me, that suggests that it was done on purpose, not that she just ran over ran over a nail or a piece of glass. And as Andrew Stoltman pointed out, not one, but two of them, the car left basically undrivable. But we do know this. 2 days after talking to the police officer in Williams, Arizona, she's 19 miles west in Ashfork, Arizona, camping in her Ford SUV. A local woodcutter sees Chelsea and speaks to her. Question. To you, Zara, what does she say to the timber guy?
That conversation has not been made public yet, and we're not even sure exactly what police have released from that. So Coconino County are the ones who are investigating that part of this situation. And that conversation
in Ashfork, Arizona, camping in her Ford SUV. A local woodcutter sees Chelsea and speaks to her. Question to you, Zara, what does she say to the timber guy?
That conversation has not been made public yet, and we're not even sure exactly what police have released from that. So,
well, I do. They released the body cam footage of the guy talking about it. He was an older gentleman, looked like just an old country guy, you know.
Coconino County are the ones who are.
I have the video.
Investigating that part of this situation, and that conversation has not been made public yet, to our knowledge.
What do we know about it, Justin Yentis?
Well, I want to be cautious in what information I do put out there right now. There are a lot of folks that have been working on this case from around the country, both as a part of our team and also an army of volunteer investigators that are providing tips. And I'm somewhat hesitant to put out information that hasn't been already disclosed to the community.
I'm trying to help find Chelsea. Did she reveal anything in the conversation that would be of any help?
Not that I've been made aware of, but I will provide that with a caveat that we do have several investigative teams working on this matter, and the direct interviews have been handled by some other folks that are in our network.
The area where Chelsea Grimm's locked SUV is found is an area popular with hunters and loggers. An extensive search was conducted of a 3-mile radius around where her car was discovered. Her family believes that due to the intensity of the search, if Chelsea was in the area, she would have been found. Hunters and loggers in the area also strongly believe she is not in the area. Chelsea Grimm's family hires a private investigator, Kelly Townsend, to help with the case.
Guys, we have an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now, but I'd like to point out that another young woman, beautiful young woman, Shayna Feynman, also goes missing very close to where Chelsea goes missing. Now, why is that? Two young women in the same general area. The similarities between the two cases are amazing. Two women missing in the Arizona area, both nature lovers, both seemingly disappear, leaving their vehicle behind, leaving their pets, one leaving their pet behind. I'm just trying to figure out what, if any, is the connection between Shayna Feynman and Chelsea Grimm. Chelsea's locked SUV found in a very popular area, an area popular for hunters. Shayna goes missing in a very wooded and rural area as well. Why? And have authorities thought of linking the two? Andrew Stoltman joining us, high-profile lawyer out of Chicago. What do you make of it, Andrew?
That's outrageous. That's a data point that I wasn't aware of. I think these police need to speak to all 500 people in this rural community and operate off the assumption that there's a pattern, that there might be a serial killer. There might be somebody out there who has abducted both of these women. And when they rush to judgment and they say, gee, we don't think it's foul play, they should be talking to all 500 of these people that are anywhere near this car to get to the bottom to see if we have a serial killer or a pattern with respect to these two disappearances.
Mark Klass, jump in. What do you believe?
I don't think they're going to tell you all this part, but Chelsea's family did not go and retrieve her belongings. They just let them be sold and thrown away. And I don't get that.
That the parents of Chelsea need to be doing right now.
Listen, I agree with what Andrew said 100%. There is nothing but unanswered questions here. What's going on with the tires? The police aren't saying anything. Was the woodcutter investigated? He was the last person that saw her. We know nothing about that. It's just like everything went down into a rat hole. I think the parents need to get over their shyness and contact the FBI and demand that they get involved, because it totally seems like this investigation is in the hands of incompetence. Otherwise, the sheriff would be on this program right now explaining himself, and I just don't see him here.
Yeah, isn't that unusual? Because typically LE law enforcement come on the air with us to help publicize and garner attention for missing people. That's not happening here. Why? As far as the parents go, what do you believe they need to be doing, Mark Klaus? Because you're the gold standard.
Well, they have to be proactive. I mean, it's their daughter. She needs them now more than she's ever needed them before. And to just say, well, I'm too shy. I can't do this. I can't do that. You have to do it. You have to find the strength. You have to go before the cameras. You have to contact the FBI and demand that they get involved in a case that's gone absolutely nowhere in 7 months. Because without that advocacy, they might never have the answers that they so desperately seek.
Mr. Klaus. Wow, you just got told by an OG on what to do. But let me tell you.
Or think you know anything about the disappearance of Chelsea Grimm, call 928-774-4523.
Man, you know, I've been screaming it though over here. I have been. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we not? Why are we not doing this? Why are we not doing that? You gotta, I mean, I know it's scary out here. Oh my Lord, I couldn't even imagine having to put myself out there, like on a platform to, like, you know, because look at the Sebastian Rogers case right now. I mean, point blank period, you know, but if it's going to get her name out there, it's going to get people talking about her. It's going to get her, you know, home, whether she's having a mental break or she just wants a break from you. If she just wants a break from you, she's definitely having a mental break, because it's been 7 months. I don't think anybody would be mad at they could be mad at the parents for more than 7 months, but you know what I mean? I don't think she would be, I don't know. I personally think she was having a mental health crisis and she needed help, and she didn't get the help she needed. But I don't know what happened to her after that. I don't think she just lollygagged out into the middle of nowhere, but then again, she took, you know, the things that she took, but she didn't take her camera. Those are things I think that I would take. But if my hands were full, like I had my bearded dragon in my sleeping bag, maybe not. But we are going to talk about all of the different, all of it. We're going to go through all of the case file on the channel over the next few lives and everything. And we'll put like some Sebastian lives and stuff in there too, because I know people are really, you know, into his story right now. I heard there's a picture going around of Katie Proudfoot eating at a restaurant with Faith and Chris. That girl needs to eat. I guess that's all I have to say about that. The audio, it's fake. I didn't listen to it. I'm not doing that to myself. We have fake audio in every case. It's every case we get fake audio. Every case. You name a case, we've had fake audio. It's just sad. And then this family with Chelsea, I don't know what to say about them. It's, you know, like so my father was killed in a car accident. And I've told this story before on the channel once before about the car. So after my dad's car accident, they towed his car. We couldn't touch anything in the vehicle because it was considered a fatality. And, you know, they had to do an investigation and all of that kind of stuff. So we couldn't touch anything in the vehicle. I called them and I remember telling them when my father's vehicle, it was not drivable or anything, you know, but when it's released, I need to be known so I can come and get this stuff. I just wanted to get the stuff out of the vehicle, and they never called me. And it was devastating for years and years. It still is devastating. So I couldn't imagine just being like, oh, just get rid of it. Send us a traveler's check. So Sarah's been deemed the family spokesperson. Well, I hope she has help doing all that, because that's a lot to undergo. Harlow, I know. Why? Harlow, okay, so me and Vincent were talking about this on the way home. I said, Vincent, I don't cook anyway. I don't cook. I said, if my child was missing, would you be more pissed off at me if I was standing in my kitchen cooking up food that my child couldn't possibly eat because he's not with me right now, and that's all I'd be thinking about? Or should I just go and try to shove something down at a restaurant? Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to, she's not going to want to eat after she done cooked all that food either. You know, like, I can't do it. But I'm going to release a video tonight or tomorrow. Seth Rogers did a new interview at Banfield, so we'll play that tomorrow as well on the channel. It looks like, I don't know if it's all out or if they're putting it out all out tonight or not. But yeah, so Seth and Tony are back in business, I guess. And then also the Kansas City moms, you know, the two ladies that were unalived by that group of statistic people, they went to court again. So I will, I'll get you guys updated on that as well. So updates. But I wanted to get this video out because I haven't been on in forever, and I wanted to get us back in the game a little bit. We're usually here every night. I took 4 days off or something. But I'll be back tomorrow night, and I might be back actually tomorrow during the day to do a live, because I want to do Chelsea and I want to still, you know, put in Sebastian and stuff in there. So, and I don't want to overload you guys, because I think this will be a good case to cover. I also want to do the Preston Lord case because I'm getting the FOIAs for that. And then we'll get you like all in the know with those two cases to where you'll want to come back every night for some more information. But I'm going to jump off of here. Thank you guys all for coming. Yes, I know. I'm leaving you on the cliff note, or the cliffhanger with the car too. Yeah, they didn't want any of it back, I guess. They said it was too hard or something. I'm like, what? No, you would always want your child's things. You know, I mean, today I was flipping through pictures of memories. I didn't realize I had a picture of my mother in my phone. My mother passed away 9 years. No, it'll be 10 years ago, I think, this year. But it popped up and it shook me. It shook me. We can do Maddie Soto if you guys want. Yeah, Maddie. Yeah, we can do Maddie. We've been covering her case anyway. Yeah, if you guys will come, we'll do Maddie. I know there's a lot of new documents out for her. A lot's going on in that case. A lot. So we need to get caught up on that too. And then of course, you know, we're still going to cover like Elijah Vu and all them peoples and stuff, you know, all those people that we cover. And who else do we have? Well, Rachel Morin, but it's starting to, we got somebody now. So that's a nice, you know, that's starting to go towards a closing for them. We'll probably still do like Rex Heuermann and stuff too. And I want to do Noah Pressgrove still, and Madeline Kojakari. I guess we're not taking any of them off the list. But we got them, yeah. The mother may have it, yeah, SG. I'm going to show you their interview on our next live and just get your point of view from it. I mean, it's monotoned. It's very, they might be terrified of a camera. You know, they might be. You know, it might be too much for them. Like, I mean, it would be too much for me. And you know, and I'm on here every night. But yeah, I hope that I can get a hold of like maybe one of her friends or something like that. Maybe this will get out to the, you know, algorithm. Her sister will see it. Maybe she'll want to come on and, you know, correct information, get all the good information, you know, put all the good information out, because I'm here for the missing people. I am here for. My platform's always open. All y'all can go somewhere else. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you guys. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit this evening. I knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep because I've slept for like the last 4 days. Vincent's taking very good care of me. He's taking very good care of me and the house. So I was very lucky. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night with another live. Earlier, of course. It'll be at about 9:35, 9:15, 9:35. And so I will see you guys all back here for another live. And if I do a live during the daytime, just make sure you have those notifications set to on, because I'll probably try to go live tomorrow during the day as well. So I will see you guys all later. Have a great evening. And it was great to see you guys again. Bye.